sitting in my office because we're connected.
Exactly. Are you wearing this famous toque because now that you're putting your book out, you're going to be famous?
It must be. I'm speaking it into life.
And what is the book?
It's Story from the Core. And so it is, well, you heard a beginning of it at the Joshua Tree thing, but it's the idea that we all walk around with 12 core stories in us, but we have one that we lead with. And so it's the process of the core story call will be in there, but I'm going to track it, my personal journey of when the moment I made a decision to change my life, and then how all the pillars of my life came down. And then the moment of in the water during the triathlon, when I realized I matter, when I actually gave myself my own medicine of the core story. So that's what it is. And I had a piece drop in. I had a piece drop in just yesterday, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, in the Stones, Story Stones, I was leading my first sort of ministry, churchy conversation around this core story piece, and and about what I actually believe about that. Story's God, right? Like, story is that there's this ancient story that we're all plugged into, and we just have to shut up and listen. And it'll emerge. So that's what it's about.
Well, if you were the resident minister, I would go see you.
See, and that's part of why I think I'm supposed to do this ministry thing, because thank you for saying that. Thank you for that.
So how are you?
How am I? This is your time, but I will check in with me.
We're in relationship. Hello.
I know, you're right. Okay. I am well. I am exhausted.
How come?
Because I just finished a Story Stones weekend in Seattle. So I literally came in from Seattle last night, and I have a teenager melting down.
Oh.
And so I think the exhaustion is one, just the physical, exhaustion piece, but then also the resources that you're drawn on to hold the meltdown.
Yeah.
So after our time, which I'm fully present here. If I wasn't, I would have said, hey, I can't be here.
I'm not worried.
Okay, good. But after our time, I'm
you have present is more present than most humans. Anyway, after our gig, what are you doing?
Going to bed.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I have been sick as a dog for a week. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, at a Miraval, which is a beautiful wellness spa retreat with two friends who are coaches in Seattle and North Carolina. And we do this mentor coaching call, the two of them and me and another woman who couldn't come. So we decided to do an intensive here on our work together. We coach each other on our coaching issues. So here's a problem I'm having with a client, blah, blah, blah. And we did visioning and went for massages and all kinds of stuff. But I got sick a day and a half before I flew down here. And oh my God, my ears didn't equalize for 2 days. And I felt like my head was going to explode. And fortunately, I had antibiotics with me, but I can't tell you how much I have coughed. Like, nothing works. Steam doesn't work. Decongestants don't work. Wine. And I never get sick, but I got sick for 3 weeks in October and sick again now. So I'm like, what's that about?
Yeah.
Other than I'm on airplanes every week,
Well, there is that.
Mm-hmm. But I'm used to having the constitution of a horse. So, I haven't gotten very much done in the last week.
So what do you think? I mean, not that we need to go in here. I'm just curious. Like, I'm wondering what that's about. Like, what are your, I don't know. What are your instincts saying?
Oh, well, I think it's a clear message from what you would call God and I would call universe to adjust how I'm living, which is, and because of that, I actually did a call this morning with someone who wanted me to come to Canmore next Monday and deliver a half-day session.
Yeah.
And normally I would have done it, and then I would have had to fly direct to Winnipeg where I'm doing a speech. And I just said, sorry, I can't do it. Because
Yeah.
I thought my body can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm so used to having the constitution of a horse and just saying yes to everything that it's pretty clear that if I want to be healthy, not just physically healthy, which I totally am spoiled rotten at, if I want to be physically healthy and I want to have the space to write, and let alone have, inner peace and ease in my life, there's no way I can keep saying yes to everything.
It's funny when you said, if I want to be healthy, what I actually heard was, if I want to be helpful, I've got to be healthy.
Look at you. Yeah.
That was the
Excellent.
sentence.
Excellent point. Yes.
So does that speak to you?
Yeah, but it's a monumental shift. I mean, and of course, it's quite funny in a way that I got this sick being here, because this place is all about wellness, unbelievably healthy food, lectures on every conceivable aspect of wellness. I saw a psychic. I met with an integrative nutritionist.
Yeah.
Walks in the desert. It's just like, wow. And then you're reminded of, even though I'm really sick, you're reminded of how good you feel when you actually look after yourself. Duh.
Yes. So this is great. If you want to just jump in here from the story coaching perspective of,
you are my guide. I'm happy to go wherever you want.
Okay. So the words,
because I feel quite stuck with my writing.
You do? Okay. So let's see if the word that jumped out, helpful, is our way in. Let's see if that's why that arrived. So I loved your post on Facebook about, I've always wanted to write a book and now I'm writing two. And so I wanted to ask about the desire to write these books. I mean, and you've already told me why you're writing them. You've already told me why. So I want to just dig a little bit deeper around this word helpful. So why do you want to write these books, both of them? Because I trust that they're both interconnected. And maybe that's where the stuckness is because they're interconnected and we're trying to separate them. I have no idea. But how are these books helpful? And why do you want to help?
Well, I was going through the Joshua Tree notes, and one of the things you guys asked was, what's urgent about why you're writing the book, and why should they care? And actually, helpful is a segue. I want people to feel like no matter what happens to them, they have the inner resources to make their way out of the abyss, the water, the swamp. Even if it's not so dark as to be an abyss, even if it's just really fucking annoying interpersonal dynamics at work, that they have that they matter and that one person can make a difference.
Okay. So inner resources. So they have a knowing that I am that no matter what, I feel like I am resourced.
Yeah.
Now another concept that's this one person can make a difference. So how are inner resources connected to one person can make a difference?
Because I think sometimes we feel like we're part of this huge system, and what good would anything I do to shift the system in a more positive way? Be it it doesn't matter if I vote. It doesn't matter if I kvetch with a coworker about our boss instead of being constructive about it. Oh my God, my kid has a disability. He'll never be able to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I spun around in that washing machine for 2 years before I thought, well, I'm going to figure out how he can do whatever he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's too easy to think somebody else needs to fix it. I'm not a huge fan of John Mayer because
Mm-hmm.
of some of his oversharing about sexual exploits. But he has this great song called Waiting on the World to Change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that word. Yeah.
And so I just believe passionately with all my heart that every one of us makes a difference every day in our sphere, however small or big it is, whether it's smiling at the cashier at the grocery store or like just no matter how teeny tiny it seems, that each one of us impacts everybody else around us.
So the one that you're speaking of, one person can make a difference. Sometimes you are the one, right? So you might be speaking to a room full of people and you're saying you are the one, right? But you're also, that one person can make a difference, might be a one that's making a difference to you.
Totally.
Okay. So I'm curious in this idea of one, when you think of being helpful, do you see help moving through people one at a time? Or do you see it another way? Like, do you see it as a wave of, let me give you some context for this. I'm not trying to get you into either or. I'm just trying to get a sense of what one actually looks like for you. Yeah. I have another person whose book and help for them, like their story of help really is about like a wave of consciousness until the one pops out. So it's like we're actually all in the one pile until our collective consciousness creates the pop that the one new thought happens. So his one is actually all. So in your story of one, is there any, how would you measure a one? Around health.
So he's kind of doing the tipping point idea.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Yeah. No, I would see mine as for sure the individual individual action or action is compounded by others.
Okay.
But I think of it as more of an individual quest.
Okay.
That affects the whole.
Gotcha. An individual quest that affects the whole. Okay. The reason why I'm here is I suspect then that this is a bit of the piece of the voice, right? That as you're writing, you are writing to one person.
Yes.
Right? Which is going to help you because your tone then, if you're speaking to one person, it has a very different voice than when you're speaking to 10 people all at once or 1,000 people all at once, right? And I know that, that's kind of writing 101. Talk to the one person who wants to hear you.
Yeah, but don't assume I have any writing 101.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't.
There's that.
I'm a writer, but I've never taken any writing classes.
Right. Okay. Okay, so that is a way in, but I want to take it even more personalized than that. I think this idea of one has kind of arrived to you have this incredible quality of your communication style. What am I trying to say? I was talking to Mary Beth about it. When I was reading your stuff, I totally couldn't hear your voice. When you spoke your stuff, I was like, oh my God. Whereas Mary Beth, she read your voice and she was like, oh my God, I totally hear her. And we had this really neat conversation where I was like, wow, I totally couldn't hear it. But when you spoke it, I could hear your humor. She totally picked up on your humor in your writing. And so she's the one. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
It's that, and there's something about your impact, that was your word. There's something about your impact that's connected to the voice you write in.
Okay.
And to trust it. I'm just saying, and to trust it. See, now that I've heard you and I've met you, I will be able to read your stuff and hear you saying it.
Right.
And I'll get it. But Mary Beth got it right away.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
But I think you're on to something, Tina.
Okay.
I know exactly what you mean about it wasn't really it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
Well,
what's arriving for you?
What I'm really trying to do, I wrote yesterday for an hour and I got frustrated and I wasn't feeling good, so I stopped forcing it. But I said to my husband, it wasn't anything that is publishable, but at least I was getting it out. So I'm trying to get past it's not really what I want it to be, so I guess I can't do it.
Okay.
And instead replacing it with, no, you just got to show up and write every day. And whatever shows up, and keep going. Don't critique it as you go or go back. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't quite nailed the voice. So Mary Beth might have heard it, but I don't know whether she read it before or after she met me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I had met you, but hadn't heard you read your work, and I still couldn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
She'd probably met you. Anyway, it doesn't matter our experience. I'm hearing your experience, which is, it's not all, the voice hasn't arrived.
No, I'm totally in sync with you. Yeah.
Okay. And you feel like the voice hasn't arrived yet.
No.
Okay. So
I get glimpses of it, but it's not consistently there. Sure.
So tell me what has arrived. Tell me about those glimpses.
Well, I was a bit surprised at how much people laughed when I read the piece I read. Because the real me is funny, even when I'm serious. Mm-hmm. Or rather, my serious quality is interspersed with humor. So it's not like ha-ha the whole time. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't trying to be funny, if you will, mm-hmm. in the piece that I was sharing. Mm-hmm. But I liked that it had that impact. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah.
So I want to come up with a way of sharing my travails and the things that have worked for me, and not just me, but what I've observed in coaching, probably hundreds of people at this point, with a healthy dose of practical realism, humor, and with some depth, which is my essence, really.
Yeah. I would almost say it's like your depth comes out of like surprise. Not that it's surprising that you're deep at all, but that I'm reading your stuff. I'm imagining I'm reading your book. I'm reading your book. I'm reading your book. I finish the chapter. I'm out for a walk with my dog, and all of a sudden I'm hit with it. Boom. Oh. Right? Like it's not depth. It's realism. Oh, funny. Close, walk the dog, depth. Whew. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm feeling like I need to tell you about clown work. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Do you know anything
did I tell you my father called me Bozo the Clown from the time I was like 2?
No.
Yes.
Well, it's probably why I'm supposed to talk about clown work. Clown work, the essence of great clown work is sorrow. Great clown work touches the void, and from that place there is light and beauty and silliness. I'm going to see if I can find a link to Slava's Snow Show. Have you heard of that show?
No. How do you spell it?
Slava. Slava's Snow Show. And it's all, the whole show is clown. And it's beautiful.
How do you spell snow show?
Oh, like snow, SNOW, and then show, like SHOW. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Russian, I think Slava, if I'm not mistaken. And so at the heart of every clown is humanity, right? It's not the red nose. It's not the big shoes. At the heart of every clown story is humanity. Comedy is like a buffooned version, like a totally exaggerated version of clown work, right? It's like the more you watch Robin Williams, the more you begin to actually feel his humanity, and that he wrote and performed the way he performed as he was wrestling with his own humanity.
Right.
So, why am I here? Why am I here? I think it's in this dance of depth of yours. And I love that you chose the word realism. I love that you chose the word realism. In fact, I would say that's one of your gateway words to the clown's humanity. That realism is your center point for comedy, right? Or for humor. My dog's a bit rangy today. And
just to stop you there,
yep.
The most common comment I've received in my life, no matter where I was, friends, executive, speaker, is "you're so real."
Right. Okay, so let's dive in there. When they say that, what do you hear? Or what comes up in your mind? Or what does it mean to you when they say you're so real? How do you interpret the word real?
That I'm authentic, that I'm honest about what's hard.
So imagine I didn't know what honest meant. And you look at me and you go, I'm just honest about what's hard. And I go, what does the word honest mean?
Open.
Okay.
Vulnerable. Okay with not having answers or something.
Yeah. See, now we're into some like really applicable language that there's no, like, okay with not knowing the answers is a great example. What else? Okay. Okay with, or welcoming, like give me some really kindergarten languaging for honest. What does honest mean in relationship to you and your voice?
Well, I don't know why sensitive popped in my head, but that's not a kindergarten word.
Well, what would a kindergarten word for sensitive be?
Be nice to me.
Nice. Be nice to me. Beautiful. And does sensitive also mean I'm nice to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so
I'll share all my toys
Oh, share my toys. Oh,
AKA learnings.
yes. And okay with not knowing. So what is that? What's another version of okay, like kindergarten? Okay with not knowing.
Wonder, curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in there about asking questions?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. It's more tangible, asking questions.
Why?
Why? Why and wonder. Why is great for wonder. Mm-hmm. So you're so real. You're so real. So your quality of real, just around the word honest, is nice. Sharing your toys. Asking questions. So what about the word authentic? What is authentic? You were trying to tell a 5-year-old what authentic means. What would you say?
Nothing hidden.
Ah. So if nothing's hidden, then what is it?
Nothing scary.
Nothing scary. So
what
what
you see,
are
what you see is what you get.
Yeah. Now what if, but what you see is what you get might be scary. So what would if it's not scary, what is it? If it's not hidden, what is it?
It's open, it's safe.
Safe, that was the word I thought was going to be there.
It's okay is more than safe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can totally see why people compare you to Brené Brown. Because when you open up in a Brené Brown book, don't you go, oh, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like her stuff or don't like her stuff, you can open up any book and go, oh, nothing's going to scare me in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
This word, I'm going back to our conversation about your garden. This word about nice, I can like feel your garden in that word. And you posted this photo of you in the garden recently. And like, when I open your book, I'm going to be in your garden. And I'm going to be safe. Everything's going to be okay. But again, it's not. It's almost like I don't want to spend too much time in the okayness, because that's the realness of you. That's that Brené piece that we're like, yeah, that's that grounded piece. It's almost like your special skill though. Like you're not special. When I think about the word helpful, it's about the garden. It's about nice. I love that you said, be nice to me, I will be nice to you. What a beautiful quality of writing to write from, like from a context. When you open up your computer and you're going to tell a story, if all you did, if you were stuck, just said, how can I be nice today? It would give you a way in. Another one for you might be, how can I share my toys today? Or it could be, what toy do I want to share today?
Mm-hmm. I've always passionately felt, even as a 5-year-old, that all the problems of the world would be solved if people were just nicer to each other and well, it's like that love one another notion that it's like every plant just needs sun and water, and every human needs niceness and kindness.
Oh, that is so gorgeous. Like your version of sun and water is niceness and kindness.
Which sounds bloody woo-woo hippie, but that's totally how I live.
Yeah. And I can tell you with your skill of realness, we can hold the woo. We can't hold the woo without the groundedness of your realism.
Right.
And I'll tell you, there's nothing about you that I think is woo. Not that I don't know, like I know you got woo in you, but I get that.
Yeah.
But I would never introduce you as, hey, this is my woo-woo friend.
No.
No.
So one of the talks I do frequently is about personal leadership and choosing to exhibit what I call personal leadership behaviors in the workplace. And Brené's book actually is all about that.
Right.
And I often started out saying, can one person make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
You decide.
Mm-hmm.
In the context of organizational cultures and getting along with others in the workplace and working with toxic bosses or in toxic cultures, etc. I'm not at all recommending you stay no matter what, but what can one person make a difference in any culture, no matter how healthy or unhealthy it is?
Mm-hmm.
My unequivocal answer is yes, but everybody has to make that decision for themselves. And sometimes you have to make it a few times a day.
Mm-hmm. What's the case you would make to the world? Because every book makes a case, right? Of some kind. Is it this one person? Is this the case that you're making? One person makes.
Well, it's that it's like a virtuous spiral. So no matter if you want to reduce your own stress, if you want to influence more people, if you want to have your ideas listened to more, if you want to influence more positive behavior from colleagues or bosses, pick a story. No matter what your motivation, even if you were Machiavellian about it, learning to understand how you impact others, and granting them grace when they have been shitty, as opposed to you're dead to me, has a tremendous effect on your life. Whether you're getting divorced, whether you're dealing with a kid with disability and navigating the system and getting tired of advocating, all that other stuff.
Learning how you impact others.
And I've always naturally had an ability to get along with almost anybody. That didn't mean that I didn't have some Titan-like clashes at the executive table and so on. Sure. But I think inherently, I remember saying to my mother once, there's something to love in everyone. And she said, no, that's not true. And I said, well, I really believe that. And I really believe that people who are prickly, and actually she was super prickly, and I believed it of her, no matter how prickly someone is, there's a way to get through to them so they feel seen as another human being who matters, which softens them. and I've had a zillion people say, oh my God, like, how can you get along with so-and-so? Or how were you able to get so-and-so to turn around, like in a business context, coaching wise, and so on. That doesn't mean it worked every single time, but a lot of times it did work.
What worked?
Well, it was my comment, I can grow almost anything in anyone.
Yeah. But what works to grow almost anything in anyone?
I think lack of judgment. I think holding a space where people feel safe to share their angst and not judged for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just really good at getting to the heart of the matter and getting them to see things they might not have seen before that they need to shift, as opposed to externalizing blame. But not in a way that depresses them to the point where they think, oh, I'm fundamentally flawed. And that's the thing I wasn't seeing. So I can't externalize blame anymore. It's actually all my fault. And oh, woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, when I'm effective, and this is a theme through all my life, with my friends, with my family, with people I work with, they see the part they have to play in it, but they have hope and tools and ideas and toys to
Yeah.
help address it, to get out of their own way so they can shine, is how I put it.
Okay. So there's something interesting here about, I just drew like two circles and a line down the middle. There was something about this piece about how you're able to talk to people about their personal responsibility without it getting too heavy, where they shame themselves and then go down this spiral of, oh, woe is me because I suck. And now that I'm owning my personal responsibility, it's all my fault. Right. So
they might spin in that washing machine for a little while.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it works, and you know, sometimes I only had one instance where I was dealing with someone who was psychologically unhealthy, and I sent her to a therapist, and she never came back. And I think she probably was a narcissist, but I'm not a shrink. But other than that case, you know, for sure it hurts, and you're going to spiral upon discovering that shit, I'm the common denomination in all my interactions, damn it. And so I'm externalizing blame here, there, and everywhere, but the thing I'm seeing everywhere is actually the thing that is me.
Mm-hmm.
Projection, in other words.
And so what's the message of that bridge?
Sorry.
It's okay. You just cough away.
What's the message of?
What's the message of that bridge between internal and external? I'm here because there's a number of things that have arrived that we can play in.
Right.
And this is one of your when I hear somebody say, I've always been able to, I'm like, you've always been able to do what? And so we start there, and then I go, okay, how do you do that? And most of the things that we've always been able to do, we actually don't know how we do it, because we've always been able to do it. But the thing that we've always been able to do, our job is to figure out how we do that, because we're masters at it.
Because I can almost instantly foster trust.
Okay. Almost instantly foster trust. How does that happen for you?
Because I'm real, and I make it safe. Or even before that, I'm real, and people feel, I've been told, instant connection.
So most of the world talks about this real thing and safe thing and connection thing, from an extroverted perspective, right? From a alpha position, right? But I suspect that's not your way.
No.
So there's something about your introverted version of
Well, I'm
this.
actually wildly extroverted, but I think it is partly the extroversion in terms of I'm warm, I'm curious, I'm genuinely interested in when I meet someone and what they're about.
They're really interesting. Because we actually can't make anybody feel safe.
No.
So there's a quality of you that where people feel safe. Okay, it's funny, and that thought just went, yep, and that's all we need for that thought right now. Okay. There was something about genuine, so I'm just going to circle that word. And this zone of safety that we'll know that we've achieved your impact when someone closes the book and they don't think this, but they'll have an experience of being safe the whole way through. Okay, that's all I need to know about that. I don't know why, but that's it. I'm just gonna, sometimes you can undo what you just did, and I'm like, okay, if you keep going, you're gonna get clever here. Just trust it.
Okay, I have to go pee because I've been drinking too much tea.
Okay, go pee.
I'm back.
She's back. Anything happen in the bathroom? You know, sometimes we get thoughts when we step away.
Yes. I thought, when I act from that place in the boardroom, I am the most effective possible. And when I don't act from that place, because I've got my arm around and I'm trying to be in there with all the old white guys, I get overly harsh and intimidating and dominating. So I really have to, I'm pretty good for operating from that place, no matter where I am. But I do have the odd instance where I was just thinking of an instance a month ago with the CEO of a board where I'm the HR chair and he just wasn't getting it and I got frustrated with him. So I basically was like, this isn't on. But the way I did it wasn't awful or anything, but it wasn't from my helping him see how he was getting in his way. It was coming from my authority place.
Coming from my authority place. My guess is writing from your authority place will always shut the muse in you down.
And when I tried to write it 4.5 years ago, I was trying to write it from that place. So I just realized that.
So we need to get to know the authority place so that you can instantly pick up on it and switch gears. So let's speak into the authority place. Describe the authority place. What's it feel like? What do you notice from that authority place? We can get to know this character called the authority place.
Don't suffer fools gladly.
Okay.
Which is quite funny because the real me just finished saying there's something to love in everyone. Impatient. Can be curt.
Yeah.
strut my knowledge stuff.
Right. Right. My version of that is clever. As soon as I start to get clever, I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay. Strut my knowledge.
I start frowning.
Okay.
I feel tight.
Okay. Where?
Well, mostly my gut.
Okay.
But even my teeth feel clenched.
Nice.
I mean, they're not literally, but
yeah.
Like up for a fight.
Okay. Huh. What does your authority place sound like? What does she usually say? Or what filters does she see the world through?
Well, that's not on.
Okay, that's not on.
We've had this conversation before. In other words, what aren't you getting? I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
I'm smarter. I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I'm tired of dealing with you. She's just a lovely soul. I'm taking over now.
Nice. It's really interesting that I see in these 6 statements. That's not on. We've had this conversation before. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I'm tired of dealing with you. I'm taking over now. Completely is in opposition to honoring the one. It's like complete opposition to that thought that one person makes a difference. In this scenario, this one person who's at the table that's talking too much or is doing it wrong doesn't make a difference. Or the belief is, don't make a difference.
Mm-hmm. I get self-righteous when I'm like this.
Yeah.
It was my worst quality when I was not behaving well at the executive team.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm right.
Okay.
Why don't you get it?
Right. I love that. I feel like I'm right. And why don't you get it? So you've probably heard this before. This isn't a writing thing. But not that this is about anger, but I'm just going to use that as an example. But all anger is a response to a boundary being crossed.
Right.
That's actually all it is. These thoughts, these reactions in here are a response to a need not being met.
Mm-hmm.
What's the need not being met underneath all of these I statements of yours, all of these I am statements of yours?
One is respect.
Okay.
Feeling a need to feel heard.
Okay.
Need to be taken seriously. Need to matter. And something about making a difference.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
And the last one is one of my key values.
Making a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when that value is blocked or not heard or not respected or not mattered, not taken seriously, this, what you've called self-righteous, which is, I wouldn't call it from that context, from that lens, it's not actually self-righteous. It's self-preservation is what's going on.
Right, but I get self-righteous in
Yes.
terms of bring out, that I have, for example, at the executive team, if we were arguing about some leadership conundrum, I would trot out even though I wouldn't say it in my head, I had higher employee engagement than anyone else.
Yeah.
So moral high ground, self-righteousness, or yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in your core need for self-preservation, you get self-righteous.
Yeah.
Got it. So you have an assignment around this.
I'm sure.
Because for a couple of reasons. One is that stories are like toddlers. You heard me say this, and stories are like toddlers, and they will dog our trail. They will pull in our sleeves. They will have a fucking temper tantrum if they have to until we finally listen to them. And this voice, which really is like, it's like your lead block, right? Your lead block voice is driven by self-preservation. And your lead block voice might not be saying to you, I'm better than you, but your lead block voice might be saying, you're not good enough, right?
Oh, totally.
So it's like, I'm tired of dealing with you is what self-preservation sounds like, but there's the block of that is, you're too much, maybe. This is too much, right? Who do you think you are? Right? So your lead block voice, I tend to think them like characters. I think about them, who's coming to dinner, right? And you want to invite all parts of you to dinner. And right now, as you're writing your book, you're throwing a dinner party. You're trying to get the food on the table, but there's these guests. There's these guests that have to be at the table in order for the book to get written or the message to be created.
Mm-hmm.
And they are a one in your voice, in your head. They are a one that makes a difference. So your job is to meet this character, this self-righteous character who shows up, and find out what she has to say. So I'm going to send you some writing prompts that you can use or not use. They're like jumping off points. But what I want you to do, like in essence, just so you can get in case your own creative juices take over and you don't need my writing prompt, is I want you to write into that's not on. I want you to write into, we've had this conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't know where the opening is going to happen, I want you to write into it as you, the self-righteous, talking.
Yeah.
And I also want you to write into it as the person that you're being self-righteous with.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that you keep writing until you've actually emptied the thoughts. There's nothing else to say. The self-righteous person has nothing else. It's all on the table. And that the person that you're being self-righteous to finally gets to finish what you are blocking them from saying with your self-righteousness. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see where that's going to take us. I suspect there's something about that one person makes a difference.
Okay.
The other objective or impact of this that I'm looking for or hoping for, is it's like, you know who I love comedian wise? I love Tina Fey.
I love her.
Oh, right? Because she always, it's like everything she says, she's got her arm against the chair, right? She's sly.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And she's so fucking smart.
And she's got that you don't even know what hit you until you walk away. And going back to the clown and Robin Williams, what makes humor effective is realism.
Yeah.
That's what makes it funny. And so you've got to, like, you've already got realism going for you. Now we want to bring it up and actually really let it into your voice and do it on purpose, not accidentally, which is kind of how it's happening right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? Certainly in your writing. You're like, that was funny. It's like, oh, yeah, that was funny. But imagine when you can own your own Tina Fey, right? And your own Tina Fey is self-righteous. Like, that's the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing that underbelly. I like that. I get self-righteous when I get like this.
God, yes.
But she's funny when she's whole.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bitch when she's not whole. Right? And she's not safe when she's not whole.
No.
Okay. So that's around voice and it's okay. So let's go back to, I want to listen in now about your writing experience and how you said you tried for an hour and it just wasn't working. So what was going on in your just wasn't working?
What were the voices in my head?
What wasn't working?
This is boring.
Okay. This is boring.
It's all been said before. You can't access your real voice. So one of the things to know about me is almost everything I've done in life has come incredibly easily to me. Not inner peace or marital harmony or parenting. I don't mean that kind of stuff. That's being fucking torture. But anything to do with work or I don't know, I need to coach someone when I was at work, or I'm a coach now, or I'm delivering a presentation. Like, it just flows. It's super easy and I'm incredibly fast. When something's not easy or fast, I'm like, oh, it's too hard. I don't want to do it. And so I remember, so I was an A+ student until I went to university. And I came from a super duper strict household because my mother got pregnant by the guy next door the first time they had sex, I told you. And so when I went to university, I went from not being allowed to go to a party to woohoo, like I stayed up till 3 a.m. and did LSD, and you know, I had a blast. So I never went to class before noon, and I failed economics because I wasn't interested in it. I never went to class, and I read the book, I fell asleep. So but one of the things I realized, because I then, after I did my English Lit and philosophy degree and buggered off on the boat for 2 years, I came back and did a diploma in advertising and public relations. And I actually worked, like I did the assignments and I went to all the classes, and go figure, I got an A+ average again. And I realized I had never learned how to study, and I had never learned how to learn, because everything up until that point in my life was like deja vu. Like I was 4 grades ahead of everybody else. I could flip, I had a photographic memory and could flip through the book during an exam to find the answer. I mean, I was just unusually blessed. And so then, okay, so the photographic memory isn't quite as photographic, maybe from the drug use. And now I'm like an ordinary human, and I actually have to work at stuff. But even working at stuff, if I put my mind to something, most things flow and come very easily. And this is not. Now, I'm not by any means trying to tell you that I'm trying to throw in the towel, or I feel like I've tried really hard yet with you, because I have not. But I really did try really hard for 6 months, 4 years ago, and concluded you're just not good. Do stuff that flows and you're good at and makes you shiny and happy. Don't do stuff that makes you go and makes you feel like it's boring and it's too much work and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So the first gremlin that pops up for me when it's not amazing, when I'm writing, is, oh, well, I guess I'm not amazing. Rads. Which sounds terribly arrogant, because, you know, I'm kind of used to being amazing.
So I have a thought.
Oh, go for it, baby.
I think the fact that you're here is that you're done sliding by on amazing.
Ooh, I didn't know I was.
Yeah. And the great thing about that is some people, that's actually what they're committed to. They want a life of that. They want a life of sliding by on what they got for free, right? I mean, I love that. I teach that. I'm like, what did you get for free?
I know, that was the first thing you said to me.
Right? But I think one of the other things that you got for free, and I'm going to use the word real, because that's what showed up today. Like, your life has not been a slide by. You actually know how to consciously show up in grittiness. And I think you got that for free. I think grit showed up. And I mean actual, not like your inner grit. I mean your life grit. Like because we also get shitty things for free, right? We don't just get good things for free. You got a lot of gritty shitty for free too. And you don't have to take on something that you're not already amazing at. But I think the fact that you're here is because you actually want to be more amazing. Not just the amazing that came easy, but the amazing that you're like, oh, who am I outside this amazingness I already am? And you don't have to, but I think you want to.
Oh, no, I need to.
Why do you need to?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I think part of it is that ever since I was about 5, I fundamentally thought of myself as a writer, and that I was I think that's partly why I like Harriet the Spy so much. The book Harriet the Spy.
Yes.
Did you ever read it?
Yes.
Like, I still walk around making up stories in my head. Like, not making up stories about, well, this happened and this is why it happened, blah, blah. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
But I see a house and I start writing a story in my head.
Yeah.
But I don't actually write it. And my excuse for years was, well, I don't have time. And it was a legitimate excuse for a long time. And then it was, well, when I do write it down, it doesn't match the colors in my head.
Uh-huh.
But now I've concluded I have enough raw talent in terms of ability to write
Mm-hmm.
and enough creativity in me that I think it is a craft that I have to hone as opposed to expecting to get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the gift of the ability to write for free and be expressive and
Mm-hmm.
articulate verbally and in writing. That's for free. The ability to be a writer is not free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what? What I would love, like, what I want for you in your lifetime is the visual, is that some point in your life, if I could metaphorically give you a gift, it's actually, you've made the gift, but I get to give it back to you and go, look what you made. And I give it to you and you open it up and inside you go, oh my gosh, the colors of my writing match the colors in my head. Like, that's what you're here for.
Yeah, that just resounds down to my bones.
Yeah. I would suggest that your core belief, and not even belief, your core anchor, like your root statement of it, it takes one person to make a difference, that this process you're on is being that one person for yourself. And the byproduct is that the colors of my writing match the colors in my head. I think I think when you're with people and you innately create this safety with them and you hear them and respect them, that they can see their own colors, or they feel like you see their colors that they have in their head.
Yes.
And so this is a process where you get to be that for you.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Fucking awesome. I love you. I totally love you. I'm so happy I met you. And I'm so happy you were like a dog with a bone and didn't give up on me, but you weren't an annoying dog. Like, you gave me lots of spaces to escape, but then you show up again. And, you know, I just love everything about you. And I totally love Mary Beth, and I'm so excited. She gave me a wonderful critique of my kid book.
Oh.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my kid book with her.
Yeah.
And because it's far enough along that she can do all the bulletproofing.
Yeah.
And birth this baby with you.
Woo! I love that.
The two of you are such wonderful counterpoints for each other. It's so cool that you found each other.
I know. And that we don't make each other crazy, because
Yeah.
that often happens, right? When we're different.
So have you thought of doing more than one retreat a year?
Yeah, we're booking one for July in where is it? Agassiz, in Agassiz, so local here. So yeah, we're doing one in July here, and then I think we're looking at Gina. Gina is setting up a Newfoundland one for us. So I'll let you know when that is. I know.
But can I go to the July one and
Of
just
course you
pay?
can. Oh yeah, you can totally come to the
Okay, so when you know when it is, let me know.
Okay. I will. I will. Before we jump there,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to make sure that we
I got excited.
Okay. You're the puppy with the bone. Now, when's the next one? I want to tie up the intangible into tangible, because it's lovely to leave with a phrase of like the colors, right? To know that really resonated for you, and it may get you writing. It probably will, actually, because you'll feel inspired and loved by yourself and all that stuff. But where it fits into actual writing is the piece that we just did around your edge, and that self-righteous, as well as the piece about come and play with, I'll share my toys. I'll share my toys, and I'll be nice, and you can be nice to me. That those are the qualities of your voice that live in your head. And I suspect for you that your voice doesn't live in sound, it lives in visual, which is why you'll see a house and then you'll make up a story about it. I don't know that for sure, but the more you write, if just notice if you see something first and then write about it, or hear something and then write about it. Like in my own process, my voice is a rhythm that I follow.
Okay.
And after I read enough of your writing, I'll be able to say back to you, hey, this piece, well, you and I probably will collectively look at it and go, oh my God, I'll say to you, okay, so does this piece match the colors in your head? And you'll be like, oh my God, this piece matches the colors in my head. I'm like, okay, so this is the rhythm of your colors.
Okay.
And then I'll say, now take this piece and compare it to this piece. Right? And that's how we'll make sure that your voice is consistent through your book.
Okay.
But just start to take note of how words come to you and follow that. At this point, you're kind of in the dark. You're like, I don't know, words are just coming. But eventually you will be able to track when you're centered and you're amazing, when you're amazing.
Okay.
And then you just follow that, and that becomes your flag, right? You're just tracking the flag of that. So there you go. Did I connect intangible to tangible?
Yep.
Did I? Okay. Just want to make sure, because I'm like crazy metaphor lady, and sometimes I leave people out in picture land.
No, but you're practical, and I like that.
Okay, good. Okay, so first off, takeaways. What is landing with you that you're like, yep, I'm going to apply this?
The authority bitch was trying to write the leadership book.
Right. Cool.
Well, it kind of helped crystallize that I thought this book was more about work, but I actually don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's some kind of holistic life lessons or something but not from the perspective of I have the answers. And I think I was trying to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you all the answers so you don't have to suffer, or you can suffer less.
Mm-hmm.
But that puts me in the authority chair.
Mm-hmm.
If it's let me share my kindergarten friend what has been hard and fun and easy and messy and delightful for me, and some ideas on what worked. I will be sharing my toys.
Bing, 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 bing. That's what I heard. I heard, let me share my toys with you, and then we can wonder together.
Yeah. Not, I am the authority figure and I'm going to hand you the tablets. And if you just go do as I say, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The end.
The end. Yeah. That's fucking boring. Who wants to write that book?
Not me.
Jesus. Who wants to? Oh, I don't know if I said this to you or not yet already, but if a writer, if a writer is writing what they know, they're going to get bored. Like, you have to write into what you don't know.
Oh my God, Tina. That was profound what you just said. I have to write that down.
Okay. Writing what you know is fucking boring. It's only writing into what you don't know that keeps you writing. And how that's applicable, it could start like this. Well, I know this for sure, but what I don't know about that is this. And then you're in. Unless you're me and I just fucking write into what I don't know completely. But that's just me. Doesn't make me, it's just, that's my way in. I'm like, I only write about shit I really am lost about. Like, I'm just, because I'm hopelessly lost. And then I write in for and wait for the answer. Okay. So there's that. So the next piece is, so I have an assistant now. Not sure if you got that email. Oh, so good. So she's going to be in touch with you about ensuring that your time slots actually get booked. Okay. So she'll be like the dog with the bone. So that'll happen. And I'm wondering for you, if you would prefer 3 1 hours or 2 90 minutes.
I'm easy. What do you recommend?
For you, I actually, at this point, I recommend 2 90 minutes because Perfect. I think your body loses track of time after 60, which means then you're in.
Okay.
You ever, like the difference between a 60-minute massage and a 90-minute massage? It's like at the 60-minute massage, you're like always waiting for the end. At like 45 minutes, you're like, oh, I think this is almost over. But in 90 minutes, you're like, oh, fuck.
That's so true.
Right? So, and I want that for you. But if we end up, if it ends up being a barrier to getting booked because you don't have 90 minutes.
No, I think that'll be easier actually. Okay.
So there's that. And then in terms of homework, I'm going to send you some writing prompts about the self-righteous lady, so that you have them. And then there's stuff in the online version of this.
Oh yeah, I have to keep. I haven't remembered to go on there.
Okay, I will make sure that goes into Denise's emails. Okay, that she sends you in the booking. When she books you, it'll be like, make sure you got in here. And at the same time, I want you to know, you do not have to be a good student. All the stuff in the online thing is about getting you going.
Yeah.
If there's anything in there that I absolutely need you to do, I will tell you.
Okay. Yay.
Sessions. Okay. So there you go.
Perfect.
Okay. You good?
I'm good, baby.
Okay, you're going to go back to drinking tea and eating lettuce?
I'm actually going to go walk in the labyrinth.
Oh.
So I have all these colors now from talking to you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have a good time.
Okay, go have a nice nap.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for remembering. Thank you, sweetie. Okay.
Take care.
Bye, darling.
Peace and love.
Peace and love to you too.